You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenier and his satanic assistant, Alex Montini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex. You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
and his satanic assistant, Alex Montini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
And welcome to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, streaming live on our YouTube channel. That sounded a little bit more seamless, Alex. Usually I screw that up saying live exclusively on the New Visions Radio Network.
You got it this time.
But, you know, I like to give props to New Visions. We've been with them for a long time, their family, and, you know, screw you. No, I won't say that. Thank you for joining us, however you're watching us or listening to us. We didn't broadcast last Sunday night due to the Easter long weekend. I mean, did it feel like Easter to you, Al?
Oh, not really.
You love that enthusiastic, not really.
No, well, I mean,
Not really.
we usually get together with family, but we didn't obviously this year for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, I know that's it's hard. I mean, that's the big thing. Obviously, you know, I remember in the beginning they were saying 18 months. They kind of predicted this thing could take its toll on, but I think it's going to be longer than 18 months the way it's going. But
Yeah.
I mean, there seems to be a little ray of light
Yeah, let's not jinx it.
with the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. What's that?
Let's not jinx it.
No, I don't want to jinx it.
All I got to say is that we have 3 more lockdowns to Christmas.
3 more lockdowns to Christmas.
Yeah.
Is that your prediction?
That's my prediction, yeah.
Well, if you look at all the pandemic graphs from the past, they usually have 3 major waves.
Yeah, we're on the 3rd one now.
And we're on the 3rd one now here, pretty much around the world, I guess, due to the variants that seem to be causing a little bit of trouble. But, it's take it from Alex, pick up some 40 Creek and ride the waves.
I'm actually drinking Kraken tonight.
Oh, Kraken. Okay, so Kraken the waves.
That's right.
Tonight we've Vito.
Yeah.
Mr. Marchese, thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's always a good time with you too.
It's always great to have you, man. It's been a while.
You have to come back up here, Vito.
Yeah, for sure.
When you can, obviously. We'll go out drinking.
Well, either that or we have to get down to the Chicago area and
for sure.
Party it up in Chicago or whatever.
I told you the story what happened when I went to Chicago years ago. I got pulled over at the border. I got told to get out of the car and go to the office. Oh, fuck.
Well, you going to finish the story?
Well, okay. So we went to Chicago to try to see, we had arranged to meet this author, Michael Romke. He agreed to meet with us in person, not through an event or anything. He actually agreed to meet with us at a restaurant and whatever. So Frank and I rented a car and we drove to Chicago. And when we got to the Detroit-Windsor border, and the guy's asking us, where are you coming from? And we said, Toronto. Where are you going? Chicago. How long are you going to be there for? I go, a night. Right? He's like, I can see him pushing the button already, right? He goes, okay, pull over. He goes, oh, fuck. So we pull over. 6 guys come out with dogs and everything, right? They come 2 on my side, 2 on Frank's side, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. The guy on my side goes, turn the engine off, pop the hood, pop the trunk, and go in the office. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. We go in the office, and there's guys sitting down in the office there that look like they've been there for days, right? So Frank and I are looking at each other, and we're like, we're fucked, right? But you know what? 10 minutes later, the guys go, okay, here you go. Have a nice trip. I'm like, thanks. Off we go. Fuck. It's crazy, man.
And that was his highlight of going to Chicago.
Yeah. I didn't even it pissed me off because we didn't even get a chance to actually see Chicago because we got there. It was late already. It was around 8 o'clock at night and we were exhausted from driving all day. So we went to the bar, had a drink, 1 drink, and we both got fucking drunk because we were so tired, right? And we went back up to the room. We slept, and then the next day we met up with the guy and we went for dinner, and then we took off from there to go back to Toronto. We didn't get back into Toronto until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Was it you that told me you thought Chicago was in Kentucky?
No. If that was the case, I would have gotten lost.
So Vito, what's new? What have you been up to? I know you've been pretty busy. You got Twitch going now. You got a Twitch thing going on. What else? What's going on?
Twitch is a new thing for me. I just started doing that like last month. That came out of just wanting to freshen up on the November's Doom songs I haven't played in forever. So I know that when we go back to rehearsal that I'm not just standing there like, oh, how did that riff go or whatever. Yeah. So, I wanted to do that to kind of keep my chops up and stuff. I decided to go back to school for music. So I've been doing that the last few months here. Other than that, I've just been writing ideas for music, and that's basically all I do.
How about Callus? What's going on with Clone?
Yeah, so that's been... Yeah, we haven't done shit with that band in a while, man. I think 2017 was the last EP release or something like that. Yeah. And I've just... The stuff I was writing in the last couple of years didn't match up with that stuff. So it kind of got put off to the back burner. But I've slowly now been writing more again in that style. So there's definitely ideas being recorded at home that will eventually turn into another EP or maybe full-length album. But that's probably not going to be done this year at this rate. But it is in the works for sure.
Yeah. It's funny because it's been what I don't know. It's been 5 years, something like that. I think since you guys came up
Oh, the
here
benefit?
for the David Gold benefit.
Yeah, I don't even remember was that like 2013 or 2012 or something?
No, I don't think it was that long ago. Was it? Was it that
It was
long
a while.
ago?
It was a while ago.
Was it 2014?
It's probably 2013, 2014, around there, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's been a while. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That long.
Yeah, time flies, dude.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I think that's when you were rocking the buzz cut there, Vito.
No. Yeah.
You didn't have long hair.
Yeah, I think you had the buzz cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have long hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I cut my hair in 2010. I started shaving it around 2012. So yeah, I don't remember if my head was shaved, bald, or what was going on at that time.
Ah,
But
too long ago and too much liquor.
dude, that was a long night, man. I commend you two for sticking around, because I don't think we went out till like 2:30 in the morning or something like
Yeah,
that.
you guys went
man.
on pretty late. Yeah.
It
was brutal.
it was awesome though, man. The whole thing was great. I absolutely enjoyed the whole damn thing, and you know what? It was worth waiting for it. It really was, because I know you guys were like, "Oh, come on, man!" Like, you guys were itching to get going.
Yeah.
And when you guys finally got up there and started playing, it's like, who cares how much time it took? This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome to finally see you guys play live.
Yeah.
And wasn't the first song you played was Rain, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was
Rain. I'm
Rain.
gonna say probably, yeah. We started. That song's been our opener for a long time in that time period. Now I don't think we usually open with that one, but it had to have been Rain at that time.
Yeah.
That's such a rockin' tune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It definitely in my top 5, no doubt. Probably my top. I don't know. There's so many great tunes, but it's in my top 5 for sure.
Nice.
I think that's the only song Alex knows.
No, I know the other songs. I just don't remember the titles. I'm horrible with fucking
I'm horrible
titles.
with names. I usually don't remember even our own titles. So
that's I'm the same way. Like Rain's easy to remember because it's just one word.
Right,
Rain.
it's one word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's easy. You don't have to worry about the poetic sort of the titles of the others. You're like, oh man, that title's pretty long. But it's a great tune.
So for all the folks listening, you guys got to check out November's Doom. Vito, where can they check you guys out? I guess you guys got some stuff on YouTube, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so if you are on YouTube and that's where you listen to music, you can just search for November's Doom. We've got music videos. I think our record label has all the albums up now that you can stream. And if you do Spotify or iTunes Music, we're on all that stuff as well. And you can just, if you want to stream it for free, you can stream it for free. Or if you want to actually buy our stuff, you can check out Prophecy Productions, which is our record label, and they have CDs and vinyl for our newest album. And we're going to be re-releasing our old catalog fairly soon. So that's basically where you can get that stuff from.
That's awesome.
And how long has November's Doom been around now? They've been around, 2000 or no.
Yeah, so the actual band, Paul started it in like 89.
Holy.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I joined in 2003, the very end of 2003. Yes, they've been going on for, at least, what was that, 10 something years?
So when you joined November's Doom, how old were you?
20.
You were 20. So so walking in your first time for rehearsal, whatever, what were you thinking? Like, what was it to walk in there and go, oh man?
Well, I'll tell you the story. So I don't know if I told you guys this before, but when I first auditioned, I was an hour and a half late to the audition because I grew up in the suburbs, so I don't know anything about how to navigate down in the city, right? Yeah. And they practice like down in the city. So he was like, yeah, well, meet us here at this, like, I think it was like Grand Avenue in Austin or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I didn't know where the hell that place was, right? Yeah. So I had to like MapQuest it back then, because that's how we did it. We went to MapQuest and we printed out directions, and you had to read it on your front seat while you're driving, Yep. So I took like the long way because I must have missed a turn. So I went like all the way downtown to like the lake, and then I had to come like back up and that whole trip took like an hour and a half, and there was like a snowstorm during that time too.
Oh.
So here I am. I finally show up, and I had to call them from a payphone because I didn't have a cell phone at the time, and say, "Hey, I'm lost, but I'm on my way, and I'll be there soon." So I get there, and I'm walking up to the place with my guitar on my back, and they're standing outside waiting for me. And I was like, "They're just gonna tell me to go home. They're not even gonna let me come in the door." But they let me come upstairs, and I just played some riffs that I kind of figured out on my own, and then the rest is kind of history, man. It's funny how that happened. I for sure thought they were just going to tell me to just go home and not even bother with it.
That's awesome.
Like band wise, what were you doing beforehand?
Nothing. This was like
your first thing.
I mean, I played with friends in high school and stuff, but it was nothing ever to the scope of this where we actually recorded stuff. It was just fun in a garage, you know? So this was like my first real band. So it was really surreal. It's like, are you guys sure you know what you're doing, man? I've never done anything before. Now you want me to come in and audition. It was odd.
So have you heard, were you a fan of them? Like, did you know about them?
Yeah, I was like a huge fan because at the time I had the Knowing album, and then To Welcome the Fate had just come out, and I was like super, super, super into that album. Yeah. So when I got this message from Paul on AOL or America Online at the time, I was like, wait a minute, you're the singer from November's Doom, and I have your CD and I listen to music. You want me to come down and audition for your band? It's just surreal, dude. Sometimes I really think that we live in a computer simulation and nothing is like real, because you get into situations where it's like you're in your mind, you're like, dude, this cannot possibly happen to me. This cannot be real life, but you know, it might be.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even remember how I stumbled upon. How did I stumble upon November's? You know what it was? I remember years ago, I used to listen to this podcast. I think it was like 2003, 2004. Podcast called Ghostly Talk, and we've had Scott Lambert, who's in a band, by the way, 1,000 Yard. What's the name of the band? 1,000 Yard something, out of Michigan there. And I know he's a big fan of November's Doom, by the way. He actually asked me to say hi to you guys.
Oh, nice.
And I remember because they would play music on the podcast, and I remember them playing. Oh God, what was it again? Oh, which I can't even remember the song that they were playing, but I just remember hearing this and I go, I gotta know the name of this band, because I didn't hear, they didn't say the name of the band, and I'm like, oh man. So I remember emailing them and going, can you tell me the name of the band or the song or whatever that you guys played last night on the podcast? And I got an email from Scott saying, oh yeah, that's November's Doom. Oh man, what a great, and I totally went nuts looking for November's Doom stuff. And I basically, like, whatever I could grab, I grabbed, and I just went nuts. I fucking absolutely loved it. And I think it was Facebook maybe, when I might have reached out to you, Vito. I think it was on Facebook, and
probably,
said, hey man, love your stuff. And what was it? We had you on the show, right?
Yeah, I think Paul and I came on, and
Paul and you came on.
Yeah, I think we called it like Nocturnal Emissions or something like that.
Yeah, Nocturnal Emissions.
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, that's right, Nocturnal Emissions.
You're not too far off there, Vito.
Yeah. I forgot what album that was. It might have been a Photic.
It was a
Was that 2009, I think.
It was 2009.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2009. It was, well, I just had I started the show in 2008. So yeah, it'd have to be 2009 when, roughly around that. It was before 2010, I think. So 2009 for sure. But ever since, it's been great, man. So like people, obviously, you do, work with November's Doom, and of course Callous Clone. You've got a podcast too, like a video cast thing. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have so Larry, the other guitar player in November's Doom, and our friend Megan have this podcast called Geeky and Poetic Podcast.
Yeah.
And we also have like a YouTube channel that goes with that. And we just review and talk about just geeky stuff like Marvel movies, comic books, toys, movies, all that kind of stuff. And we'll do these funny YouTube skits that are like parodies of movies based on whatever topic we're talking about. So recently we did like top Tim Burton movies or our favorite Batman films. We made a trailer where like I played Batman and Megan played the Joker, and we did all this really silly stuff on YouTube and just had a fun time doing it,
You guys did a skit, Star Trek skit too, didn't you?
Yeah, so we
I
were
think
starting
I remember that one.
Yeah, so we were starting to review all the Star Trek original series from like first episode through the end, but that's very time consuming and there's a lot. Because our original plan was to go through the entire original series, then move on to Next Generation, then move on to the next. And dude, there's like 7-8 seasons in those following ones. There's like, dude, we're gonna be here the rest of our lives doing this stuff. So that kind of fell off to the back burner. But yeah, we did. I think it was called Starfleet Geeks, where we each played. Yeah, we each played like an ensign or a commander in Starfleet, and we went through just weird scenarios that would happen to us in funny ways. So
Who was the Klingon?
we didn't get that far yet. Everybody was human, so.
So what kind of response have you had from that? Like people, you got your following. Like how's that going?
Yeah, so most of our following is actually outside of our normal like friends list on Facebook, I guess, because usually if Larry and I post stuff, or our friends we have on Facebook are mostly there for like our music side of the things we do, so they might not totally be into the geeky stuff. So it's hard to like market that stuff to some people. So most of our stuff is outside of that influence, where people just randomly find us on YouTube or run through a podcast, and they just find us and get through us through that way, which is great,
Awesome. We're going to take a short break here. And when we come back, let's get into, I know there's a plethora of stuff that, Vito, you really enjoy, like, paranormal stuff,
ghostly
UFO stuff. And I know we're going to talk about movies and stuff as well. Like, I know you're a big movie buff. So we'll get into all that stuff too. So don't go anywhere. You're listening and watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course our YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
Did you hear that? Sounded like a scream. And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network. And of course, streaming live on our YouTube channel.
And don't
If
forget
you'd
to
like
hit the like button.
Yeah. Like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And as Alex was playing during the break there, the Dark Woodlot. We unfortunately, because of the lockdown, we cannot shoot.
The Dark Lockdown.
The Dark Lockdown. But he was playing some of the teaser trailers for the upcoming documentary, The Dark Woodlot. And let me tell you, it's got some pretty freaky shit.
Yep.
If you'd like to follow us on Twitter at Dark Discussions, Facebook, simply type in Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and Instagram. I don't think we ever keep that up to date, but you can follow us, Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
We need a social media manager.
Yeah.
Or someone to take care of our social media, because we don't fucking do it.
Have you taken care of the Reddit account?
We have a Reddit account?
Yeah, we've had a Reddit account from the beginning.
Oh, I don't fucking remember. That goes to show you. The answer to that question is no.
Of course. And we're here with our good friend, Vito Marchese. Thank you for joining us again, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
And okay, you know what? We're not going to waste any time because
let's get into it.
I know you're itching. Okay, let's get it. Okay, let's hear the story, Vito. Let's hear it, man.
Okay, so this is something that happened to me, I think, like about a year ago, and it really freaked me out. So one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I could not move my body. All I could do was move my eyes around. And no matter how hard I told myself, move, I could not. My body would not respond. And it felt like there was this weird, like, I don't want to say figure or entity, but something felt like it was coming down the hall to the room. And I don't understand why I was feeling that way, but it just felt like this weird blanket of dread creeping on, and it made me want to move quicker, but I couldn't move. And it was just very odd. And I did some research. I guess it's part of this like sleep paralysis thing.
Yeah.
Succubus.
A succubus?
Look up the succubus.
Okay. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. That might have been fun, but
well, it's not that kind of sucking.
Everything's a succubus now.
It's not that kind of sucking, man.
He's yet to experience a succubus, so everything's a succubus though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it lasted for like, it felt like half an hour, but I'm sure it was only like a minute or so. But then my body slowly, it almost was like, you know, when like your leg falls asleep and you slowly regain feeling.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the pins and needles, but my face, like half of my face started to work while the other didn't. So I was like, dude, am I having like a stroke or something? Like, what is going on? It was like the freakiest thing ever. And just that feeling that this weird black thing was coming down the hall.
Yeah.
It was very odd. And apparently some people will wake up and feel some kind of presence on their chest, like somebody sitting on them or trying to choke them. I didn't feel that, but.
So there's different terms. There's like the succubus. That's what you just described now as a succubus.
Okay.
But there's also different terminologies for it, which is essentially all the same thing, like the old hag syndrome.
The old hag syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, it's all different terminology for basically the same thing that you experienced. My good friend Frank experienced the exact same thing as you did. This is when he used to live close to, like, literally next door to a cemetery.
Oh,
and
wow.
He was watching TV, and he said he claimed that he hadn't fallen asleep. He was awake when this incident happened. And then all of a sudden, he couldn't move. Like, he was lying down on the couch with his head tilted to watch the TV. And he couldn't move. He felt a presence on his chest. And he tried and couldn't move. And he said the same thing. It felt like, for him, it was like almost like 30, 40 minutes time had gone by. But realistically speaking, it was only like not even like half a minute. You know what I mean? It's just because you're struggling, your mind's just going in overtime, trying to figure out what the hell's going on, right? So, and this happened to him multiple times. So the way he got rid of it, and this is all dependent on your belief system, but the way he got rid of it was the next time that he felt this sort of thing coming on again, he just envisioned sort of like the Archangel Michael with his fiery sword, just sort of like striking down at the entity and just sort of like killing it and throwing it out of the window, so to speak, right? So it really does depend on your belief system. But if you have a belief system, if you are religious, maybe try to picture that next time this sort of thing happens and see if that works for you.
See,
All right.
what Alex would envision is a fiery habanero burrito.
It would be a flamethrower coming out of my ass, torching the damn thing.
Let me ask you, okay, Vito, the dark figure coming down the hallway, whatever. Like, what were you thinking when this thing was coming down? Can you remember?
I just felt complete dread and fear that I've never like felt before. And I'm not the type of person that believes in like demons trying to come to get you in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So to me it was like, all right, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't think that this is a demon or something coming at me, but I just had a sense that it was slowly coming to the room, and it was almost had like this curved shape to it. Like it filled up the entire hallway and had like a hunch to it. And then as I was slowly coming out of the paralysis, I sensed that it was like retreating back. Almost like, oh shit, he knows that I'm here, or he's waking up, I better leave or something. It was just very odd, you know?
Did you have something major happening? Like something maybe like you guys had a concert coming up, or was there something that might have been playing with your mind, or maybe anxiety or something that might have contributed to it, but
yeah, I mean, about a year ago, I was pretty stressed in life. So that could have happened or been the cause of that. Because I did read that a lot of stressful situations or anxiety can bring these type of episodes on.
Huge,
and I have not had that happen since then. So
that's weird, man. I mean, like I had something similar, but I didn't have sleep paralysis. But what I had happen was, I don't know if I was. It felt like I was conscious. I don't know. I can't say I was fully conscious, but I was sleeping, conscious, awake in the bed, and the next thing I know, I see this figure, coming into the room and just sort of like floating, like levitating, by the foot of the bed and coming to my side of the bed, and my arm was sticking out, like it was just out of the covers, and the next thing I know, this thing reached out and it grabbed my arm, and all I could feel is complete warmth. It was the weirdest thing, but that's not the one I was going to tell you about, but not similar in terms of the sleep paralysis and that, but weird. It's like this stuff has meaning, but you're like, okay, but what? Right? And that's the nag. It's like, I want to know what this means.
So, Vito, let me ask you a question. Was this like the most stressed you've been, like when this incident happened, or have you had other similar times when you were stressed like that?
No, I've been way stressed more than I was when this event happened. It never happened before.
Right. So this is why I have a tendency to think that it's not related to the stress factor.
Okay.
I mean, had you said that this was the most stressed you'd been that you recollect, I could argue that could be a possibility. But if you had been stressed a lot more in the past and this hasn't happened, you might want to just look into something else. And look into that succubus thing and just read up on that and see what if there's anything that sort of rings a bell to the experience you had.
Don't get him sucked into that, because he'll want a succubus to come.
Just remember, they have sharp teeth. You don't want them to actually do anything to them.
But, it's weird. The one thing that had happened, what was it, about 3 weeks ago? What was it? Something like 3 weeks ago, right, Alex? Something like that. But what I had was this dream, and it was so vivid. I was in this old hollowed out mansion, and it was archaic and ancient, and I was there with one other person, and him and I were sort of talking, but I can't remember the discussion other than, okay, let's try this and see what happens. And the next thing I know, we're doing something in terms of with our minds trying to communicate. I don't know what the hell we were doing, But we went into this stasis, and what it felt like, it literally felt like my mind was either downloading or being uploaded. It's sort of, I want to say kind of like the Matrix sort of thing, but I don't want to say like the Matrix. And I remember coming out of this, and the other guy came out of it, and he's like, "So, okay, it worked. Let's do it again. Let's try it again. Let's go further." And the next thing I know, him and I both go into this sort of mind thing, and that's when I woke up. But when I woke up, I literally was mentally and physically drained. It felt like I had not slept in a year.
Mm.
I've never felt like that ever in my life, waking up from a sleep. It was just so weird. Like, okay, was somebody like, or did I actually patch into something? Did I actually receive information, or was information taken? Like, you hear about this stuff all the time, but I mean, it was the weirdest friggin' thing. The weirdest.
It almost seems
You
like
guys-
your mind was in overdrive.
Yeah. Do you guys subscribe to the theory that maybe our brains are some kind of like radio antenna or a receiver
Talking about the
picks up on frequencies, and then that's what gives us like consciousness? And
yeah, like there's the theory where we're not, the consciousness doesn't reside within the body. It's almost like you said, a receiver, and it's almost like the Akashic records or whatever. There's other terms for it, but that's where it resides, and we're just sort of receivers into it. I mean, anything's possible, really. The fact that we as a species in science has been trying to map the brain and trying to figure out where is consciousness and where does it reside and how is it even possible when you have just a bunch of neurons firing. You know what I mean? That tells you something, where even in today's day and age, we still don't have any idea, or not solid idea, as to where consciousness resides within ourselves.
Yeah.
It's anything is a go, basically, when you're at that level, right?
I absolutely do subscribe to it. I do believe that I mean, we look at, if you want to look beyond the physical, you look at where we're made up of energy, frequency, and you know a lot about that, obviously, being a musician, Vito. Frequency and how it interacts with the body. I mean, how you feel when you play music, and you're in a certain situation, and you play a certain note, or you start, you really, your body sort of, it really gets soaked into that sort of moment, and you don't really feel that until you get to that moment where you're playing those notes or whatever, right? But the environment, everything around us is frequencies, and we interact with these frequencies, energies, whatever, and they don't die. Energy doesn't die. It's infinite. It's ongoing. So I mean, the energy that we expend, with our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, we're talking. This continues on forever in cyberspace or whatever else. So I wholeheartedly believe that we are patched into something. We just aren't aware of it mentally, and not necessarily physically, but mentally anyway. There's probably ways of trying to, people probably know how to patch into it. Who knows?
Speaking of that musical frequency, there's one frequency that literally makes me physically ill to my stomach, where I feel like I want to throw up. I call them minor second harmonies. It's basically when you play one note and then the one note that's directly next to it, half step off. If you play both of those at the same time, it makes me like sick.
Oh,
there's a
really?
band called Dillinger Escape Plan that does these things like all the time.
Okay.
It almost sounds like it's like these angry bees attacking. It's hard to describe, but that's particularly those two notes played together quickly is just makes me like sick. I don't understand, man. It's really odd.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at Germanium crystals. and a lot of people use germanium crystals to sort of capture sort well, they use it in paranormal investigations, if you will, uh, to capture of EVPs, if you will. And if you literally listen to the crystals play without the filter, you will literally get sick.
Mm.
It's so overwhelming. It's like trying to listen to infrasound, right? It literally will drive you insane. It's just insane.
Or the brown note.
That's one of the theories of the Dyatlov Pass incident, where
Oh,
those
yeah.
those hikers in Russia got lost and
Yeah.
they basically, it looked like they killed themselves or they were hit by some kind of radiation sickness or bomb or alien something. But I heard one theory that it was that infrasound. There was this weird effect that happens in this particular valley or cavern where the wind would rustle through these rocks and it created a distinct tone and it drove those people insane to the point where they killed each other or killed themselves in weird ways, man. It's an odd phenomenon.
It's quite intriguing. Yeah, really good case, by the way. I remember, I don't know where the hell it is. I have the link somewhere, but there's a researcher in Russia who was able to get the military notes that were declassified after so many years, and some other news clippings and all this rare information about the information, and basically he would sit there and say, look at, okay, well, here is a theory about what happened here. And he had all the pictures of all the bodies and how they were found and how they were photographed at the time of being found, and saying, look at, this is literally impossible. This is literally, it just, to think that something like this was held for so many years, you know that there's something going on. You just know there is.
Mm-hmm.
There's something they don't want you to know about. Not necessarily that, but yeah, the area and all. There's been so many theories about that. I mean, even the Yeti is another theory. I mean, I don't know about that one, but I mean, yeah, there's been so many wild theories about that. I mean, what do you think? I think that's a plausible. I really do. I think that's plausible.
Yeah, I think the sound thing, to me, makes the most sense. You would think that wouldn't make sense when you're like, well, how the hell does sound make you crazy? But it's the way they describe it with the evidence. It's like, oh, you know what? That actually kind of fits. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Sound has a very big impact on the human psyche. Even when you just listen to certain songs, and it puts you at ease, or it really energizes you, or really gets you aggressive, that kind of stuff.
Well, you look at, okay, when you go back to infrasound, you look how animals react to it, like a dog whistle.
Mm-hmm.
It drives them crazy. They don't like it. Now, if you were to filter that to the point where a human could hear it, same thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing we can't hear it. It literally drive us crazy. But I mean, there are apparently weapons out there called direct energy weapons that emit this kind of energy that will drive a person insane. So, who knows?
Yeah, I think the military was using, I think they're called LRADs, long range acoustic device and something like that, and they would just blast sound waves in crowds and disperse them. And
yeah, it's insane that they possibly have this technology. And I mean, we had a guy on years ago.
Oh yeah.
Who made the claims that he was a victim of direct energy stalking, and in fact, he is responsible, or was responsible. He's one of the co-founders of the liner in soup cans. And he took it all the way to the Kansas City court, the Supreme Court, and he actually won.
Hmm.
It was one of the weirdest cases I've ever heard, but you don't hear about this stuff every day. I mean, people don't know much about this stuff. But it leads down to, again, energy and frequency and how it interacts with us, right? We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we're going to dive more into this, and I know we're going to talk about movies. Good. We're going to get.
I got a couple for you.
So don't go anywhere. You're listening and watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio. We'll be right back.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex. You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
You've tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davis, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset.
And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network. And of course, live streaming on our YouTube channel. We're here with our good friend Vito Marchese of November's Dune. Yeah, so, you know, it's funny that, you know, we're talking about, you know, energy and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, one thing that's always intrigued me, and I know you guys, I mean, in the Chicago area, have had a spike, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but Mothman.
See, I don't know anything about the Mothman. I've heard that name obviously for years and years, but I've never actually like read up on it or anything like that.
You know, there's been a spike of activity in the Chicago area.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know about lately, but over the last few years, there's been a spike in sightings of apparent Mothmen in the Chicago and surrounding areas. So I don't know. Maybe it's something you might want to look into.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's definitely not like the Mothman prophecy movie.
I was gonna just say, like, I know they made a movie, but I heard that was all bullshit and had like almost nothing to do with like the folklore or whatever.
Well, it kind of had a little bit to do with oh God, what's his name's book? John John Keel's research and his experience there in the that small town. But of course, they obviously they obviously have embellished it for entertainment purposes, right? So I don't know. Like, what are you in terms of UFO sightings in Chicago?
I haven't read up on that stuff lately. I know there was like that O'Hare sighting like 5-6 years ago. They said there was a UFO over O'Hare, but I don't think that was anything relevant or an actual UFO or anything like that. I just recently read back in March in Las Vegas, there was a UFO sighting. Some woman had captured something out of her balcony, and I looked at the video, and it to me, it just looked like, remember the Phoenix Light sightings from like 96 or whenever that was?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they said that was like these not road flares, but flares that were dropped from fighter jets in that area as part of like a routine mission. Either flares from jets or parachuters that had flares on them. And to me, that's what that looked like. This incident that happened back in March in Vegas. So I haven't really kept up on that stuff lately.
Yeah, I don't know. There hasn't really been anything awestruck, when it comes to UFO, and I don't know. I think a lot of it's already come and gone with a lot of this paranormal sort of UFO, sort of thing. These cases. I think it has a lot to do with maybe perhaps that we're because of technology, that we're thinking that perhaps a lot of this is faked, and a lot of it's been able to be explained and doctored and whatnot. And I sit there and go, well, you can have something so real, but yet people would pick at it, and it would never make it through the debunkers, if you will.
Right.
Yeah,
it could be a real bona fide UFO flying over Toronto or something like that.
Yeah.
But people would think, oh, that's just a fakery or something like that, even though it is real or it could be real. And it's like, you can't trust anything anymore.
Well, we had a case. We broke a case here a few years ago that just blew my mind away. I think that was probably the last case that really blew my mind. We called it Bubble Boy.
Yep. That was a good one.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. This case was it was freaky. It was like this guy, he came to me, like he contacted me, and he said, look, I've got this footage on my trail cam, like these photos on one of my trail cams. I don't know what the hell this shit is. Can you explain it to me? And he sends me 4 photos, like, 4 seconds, I think, in length. Like, they're 4 seconds, like, in length total, that these things were snapped. And the first photo is, like his backyard. He lives in the middle of nowhere. His backyard, he's got this big open field, and then he's got this forest in the background. And the trail cam it faces towards the forest. And this is like 11 o'clock in the morning, November. It's chilly out, and it's sunny. But you just see there's birds in the field, and they're just minding their own business. And then the second photo, there's this disruption at the top of the photo, at the photo still, and I'm like, okay, that's odd. It's like this anomaly. I don't know what white swirl, just anomaly. You can't really make it out. And then all of a sudden, in the third photo, in right at the right by at the edge of the forest, you see this looks like a human figure in this bubble hovering above the ground. And I'm like, holy shit! What, when you blow it up, everything. I put it through every photo thing that I can think of to analyze this, to make sure it wasn't doctored. I looked at the metadata to make sure it wasn't doctored. It wasn't touched. It was as he was right. He didn't touch it. So, and then the fourth and final photo, back to normal. And this is in a span of 4 seconds. The temperature just rose a little bit in each one of them. It just, the fact that this thing, I mean, Alex, what did you think about it?
It was interesting. It's one of those things. It's almost like it looked like a portal from a different dimension just opened up, and this thing sort of came through.
I was going to ask. It sounds like a time traveler or something.
Yeah, well,
that just opened a portal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked for all intent and purposes, it looked like it was just a portal, and someone's just. It's almost like a window to a different dimension, and you could see this figure in this sort of bubble, right? And it's kind of weird. I don't know if you've ever read the Skinwalker Ranch book.
No, I've heard about it, but
okay. So there was an instance in there where it kind of had something similar, where when they were doing the investigation on this ranch, they were out in the field and they sort of saw this sort of, I guess, portal open up, or bubble, whatever you want to call it, and then in through this they could see this sort of craft, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's one of those scenarios where it's almost like you're opening up a window to this other dimension, and that's what you're seeing, right? And in this case, it was an individual or a being, whatever it was. It was very, yeah, it was very, very. I mean, you would have had to have seen the picture to see exactly what it was all about.
It was the weirdest thing, man. The weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing. I like I said, I've never had a case like this at all, man. It blew my mind. And we had the guy on the show, and that it even got weirder having the guy on the show. I gotta find the show. I think I have it somewhere, but I'm telling you, it was really weird.
Was that when we were still on Block Talk? Did we do it when it was a Block Talk still? Do you remember?
I think that might have been when we returned to Blog Talk. It was the last official show.
So it might be on the archives that I sent you or I gave you.
Maybe. I think it's there. I think it was, but it was just weird, man. Completely weird.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, have you ever? Obviously, it's probably a question that it's kind of weird question, but have you ever experienced anything like that, Vito? Like a sort of like a.
I've never seen like a portal or some kind of weird bubble phenomenon happen. No, but I wish I did. I mean, that sounds really cool, actually. Can you imagine that? Just something a hole just opened up, and for that minute or a few seconds, we actually got a glimpse into a parallel dimension or a parallel universe or just something that was across that, and what if you actually had the balls to jump through it real quick before it closed?
Well, that's just it, right? I mean, could you imagine just going through and see it, like if you're even able to begin with? It's like one of those scenarios. It's like, what the hell am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, and I guess the biggest concern would be, am I going to be able to come back?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's oh man, that's kind of freaky, man. But yeah, it was an interesting scenario nonetheless. Any other sort of paranormal experiences that you want to discuss or anything?
No, nothing, man. None of that stuff like happens to me except for that sleep paralysis thing. And yeah, I don't know if that's an entirely paranormal thing or if that's just weird brain neurons misfiring in the middle of the night and your body doesn't know how to react to it, so it creates this imagery to get you to some kind of fight or flight response. I'm not sure, man.
You need to watch The Entity.
The Entity?
Yeah. You ever seen that?
No, I don't think so.
You need to watch that then. That'll give you an idea of what might be happening to you there, Vito.
All right.
I still think it's a succubus.
Well, that's there's a Canadian. You know, it's funny. There's a Canadian flick called, is it Succubus? I think it's called Succubus, and who's in it? So yeah, and it basically leads down the same thing. Is it just this guy who's being possessed, or well, not possessed, but sort of inhabited by a succubus, and he's trying to figure out how to. I'm pretty sure it's called Succubus.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's called that. And I try to get Alex to watch these movies, Vito, but it's like, no.
It's like yanking teeth.
Unless it's a vampire flick.
Yeah, even then.
Even then, he doesn't watch vampire flicks.
I'm not Dracula 3000 at least.
Dracula 2000 wasn't bad. I didn't mind it. It was fun. It was a fun movie. It wasn't a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a fun movie. Have you watched? Did you watch that one, Vito?
Yeah, Dracula 3000 is one of my favorite
No,
movies.
not 3000.
Coolio and Casper Van Dien. Yeah, 3000. I know there is a 2000.
Yeah, 2000 is the one I watched.
Okay, no, dude, 3000 is where it's at, dude.
Are you serious? I didn't even know there was a 3000.
Oh yeah, it's in the future, like the year 2999. That's where it got. And dude, it's got Coolio, Casper Van Dien, Erica Leniak, and Tiny Lister.
Tiny Lister,
dude. Yeah, it used to be on Amazon Prime for free viewing. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but if you guys can like stream it somewhere, dude, it's so good.
I'm gonna check right now.
When I mean
actually.
So good, I mean it's so bad that it's so good.
So, but did you watch the 2000 one?
Is that the one where Slayer had the song in it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
okay, I think I saw that in the theater then. Yeah.
So there was one.
I liked it
because that one was filmed. That one was filmed in Toronto.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So there was that one scene where they come out of like Van Helsing's sort of office, and it was, although they come out of the office, they're still in this other sort of major building. That's actually in downtown Toronto. I know exactly the building where they filmed that at.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's Alex's house.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if Dracula 3000 is on Prime still.
What? Okay, so what's been the weirdest movie you've ever seen that you're just like, what the? But you had to watch it. It just kept drawing you back in.
The weirdest, man.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot. I guess it's not a horror film. It would probably be the movie Birdemic.
Birdemic.
You guys ever heard of this movie?
I've never seen it or heard of it. No.
Okay, so this came out, I think, in 2009. It's literally ranked the worst movie ever made. And I love it, man. It's one of those movies where most people, and I mean like by most I mean like all people, can't sit through it by themselves because it's so bad. But for me, I have this odd fascination with it. It was made by this Vietnamese American. He immigrated from Vietnam, and he decided one day, I want to make, well, he's made a couple movies before this, but he like went all in. It's like, I love movies and I love Alfred Hitchcock, so I want to do my own version of like The Birds. Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, but I want it in a more of a grotesque way. So he made this movie for like, I don't know, $10,000 or something.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have to respect it because it's a guy who put his heart and soul and hard-earned money to make this pet project for himself, and it's just completely awful. And people just rag on it, but there's just a certain charm to it. The effects are completely atrocious. It doesn't make any sense. The sound design is completely terrible, but you can tell that this guy really loved what he did and he believed in it so much they released it. And it's just, you got to see it. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it for free. It's just, I have to warn you though, it's a hard sit through. So it's best to watch it with a group of friends or do a live Skype thing and just have a good laugh at it. But that's probably
or smoke a couple of joints before watching it.
Maybe that might help.
Yeah.
So it's even worse than Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh yeah, and I love Plan 9, dude.
I know, so do I.
You know.
So
yeah, this is even worse if you can imagine.
You can't. You know, you can't beat the plates.
No,
you can't.
Not at all.
Come on.
Have either of you ever watched Kung Pao?
No. Yeah, I think I've seen it.
That was a pretty interesting movie.
Wow, why was it interesting?
It
sounds like food.
It's no. It was
There's something wrong with the feed.
What's that?
On YouTube. There's something wrong with the feed on YouTube.
What are you talking about?
All I see is Skype.
No.
Like Vito's head was like cut off.
What are you talking about?
And
it looks like it's on here.
I think you're smoking drugs, bud.
No, seriously, I'll show you. Look. See it?
That was when you're far behind. You're not even live right now.
Oh wow. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, how come it cut off Vito's head then?
Because whenever, I don't know what happened, but you turned off your camera or something and it fucks everything, all the video feeds up. And I have to adjust everything. But anyway, Kung Pao, back to Kung Pao. I know you're gonna have to cut me off there. It's
like food.
It's not food. It's it's a very stupid, funny movie. So what the guy did was he grabbed a bunch of martial arts movies and he sort of superimposed himself on some of them. And
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's a fucking shit show, but it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. The first time I watched it, it was my brother and I who watched it. We were watching it, and halfway through, we both look at each other and we're like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And we just sort of stopped it. But the more I watched it, then I ended up meeting up with someone. I met someone who actually watched it and actually liked it, and he wanted us to watch it again with him. So we watched it, and he started laughing hysterically at it, and I was laughing more at him than a movie. But it's one of those movies. The more you watch it, the more you end up liking it because it's just so fucking ridiculous. It's one of those things, man. It's hilarious. You gotta watch it. Watch Kung Pao. You gotta watch it.
Nice. I love when they a lot of American martial arts movies would take Japanese stuff or from Thailand, and they would buy some of the rights and then just make up like 15-20 minutes of new movie and just intersplice it with that movie and try to make a full movie out of those two things. And those just are hilarious to me, man.
I remember staying up late night and watching some of those classic kung fu flicks. You didn't care. The dubbing was so bad. You didn't care. This is like, wow, this is entertaining, man. This is awesome. Like the Bruce Lee ripoff ones were the best.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Lee, I think his name was Bruce Lee. And he would like over exaggerate Bruce Lee. Like it was the best. Come on, Alex, you've never seen any of those?
No, I can't say that.
Oh man.
Can't say that.
If you go on, it's a Mob Drill. I think it's called Mob Drill. It's you can get it on Amazon Fire Stick and all. Basically, it's free TV, and they have like a martial arts kung fu channel, and they show them all on there, man, uncut. Nice. Some of the classic ones. You're like. Because they're all literally the same. I'm from the Dragon Clan.
Right.
I'm from the Highland Clan. And they'd be like fighting because, somebody, planted some cactus on somebody else's land. And you were like, okay, this is cool. Who cares? The fighting was the best. I've got Iron Fist. I've got Cactus Arm. But you know what? Some of the I don't know, Vito. Have you ever seen any of the Japanese yokai films?
I don't think I know what a yokai film is, so I'm going to say no.
Okay, so yokai is literally translates into ghost. Japanese.
Okay.
word for
Oh,
ghost.
okay. So kind of like where like the Ring started from or stuff like that, or
Well, the Ring is more of the Japanese have had a tradition of ghost stories that spanned from a scolded woman, and that's where those come from. A lot of the the Ring, Juan, and all that, the Grudge, usually from a woman who's been scorned and she comes back for revenge, so to speak. But yokai, Japanese yokai, they have is literally a system, a ghost system, and they literally have a ghost or representation of for every element that is known to man. And so the I think it's Toei in Japan in the 70s. They made these yokai monster films, and basically they took the technology that they used with Godzilla, the guys in the suits and all that kind of shit, but they literally made up these monsters from the yokai system. So there'd be like this turtle guy and this.
Oh, I gotta watch this immediately, dude.
Dude, they're the best. They're the fucking best. I'm not kidding you. You have to watch them. I absolutely love them. And I don't know where I was going with this. Where was I going with this? I don't know.
You're asking him if he saw any of those movies.
Yeah, you have to check them out. They're cool.
Okay, I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Yokai movies.
I think there's two of them. There's two yokai. I might be wrong. There might be more, but they're the yokai monsters.
Okay,
is what they're called.
Just be careful, because when you mistype and you're looking for stuff in Japanese, you might get some Japanese porn.
Oh no, like tentacle porn and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Hentai. You want to use.
Yeah, you don't want that kind of stuff. You know. It's all gonna be blurred out anyway, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd like them. Really cool flicks. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But other than to tell you that they were cool flicks.
I think that was your point.
That was my point. Yes.
Yeah, you were trying to ask him if he saw it, and then you just sort of went on a spiel.
Well, yeah, something like that.
Kung Pao, man, you gotta watch Kung Pao.
Oh, Kung Pao.
I'm gonna brainwash you guys into watching it.
Don't need to. I see when you say Kung Pao, I think of food.
Hey, Kung Pao chicken or something.
Yeah, Kung Pao chicken. That's all I think of. I don't think of a movie. I think, should we eat Kung Pao while we're watching Kung Pao?
You know what? I think I'm gonna get Chinese food tomorrow because I haven't had Chinese food in a long time. This Kung Pao talk has had me itching for that now.
Tell me about it.
Just
Kung Pao is good.
So order Chinese food and watch the movie.
Okay.
You know what sucks? And okay, talking about Chinese food. Here we never got them. You'd watch all these movies and they'd order Chinese food and they come in those boxes. The special boxes. Yeah. You never got that up here. They'd always come in these foil things and they'd have a cover with a foil, locked over it.
Yeah, it's never like those boxes that you see in the shows.
Yeah. I'm like, this sucks. I want real Chinese food. But it wasn't until I went down to where was I? New York. I went to New York just before 9/11, actually.
Oh,
the year before 9/11, and we went to a small place, Tarrytown, New York. Beautiful place. Actually, that's where Sleepy Hollow is.
Okay.
A beautiful little place. And we ordered Chinese food, and it showed up, and I'm like, wow, I'm in heaven.
Finally got the box.
I finally got the
Did you take the box home with you?
I took it home. I took 2 of them home.
Nice.
He still has them to this day, just sitting on his kitchen counter, just to remind
It's like growing mold in there now.
His own fucking yokai monster gonna come out there pretty soon.
Well, yeah. After all these years, they're definitely yokai monsters. So okay, so movie wise, what have you been watching? Is it something that you've been like wow, this is awesome?
So we just watched a movie called Knuckle Bones.
Knucklebones.
Yeah. So every weekend I'm usually hanging out with my best friend Michelle and her family there, and her kids I call my nephews, and we always pick a horror movie to watch. And usually each week one of us will pick a movie. And this turn it was her turn to pick. And what we'll do is we'll go on like Amazon Prime and we'll look for a few, and then we'll watch the trailers and we'll be like, oh, okay, that one looks good. So she picked this movie called Knuckle Bones. We knew nothing about it, and it's basically about it starts off where the Nazis are trying to develop a new super weapon. So they decide that they're going to summon a demon to fight for them. This demon called Knuckle Bones. So they do this ritual, and you have to throw knuckle bones, basically the bones from a hand, and toss it into this pentagram to summon this Knuckle Bones demon. So Knuckle Bones comes out, and mind you, this is like 1943 or whatever it is, 42. And he comes out like talking like a normal like American would talk like now in modern times. It was so odd. And he sounded like Freddy Krueger. Like that's the thing they were going for.
Oh, really?
And then they go and it takes place in modern times. But that I think was just the setup that this happened in this factory or something. And now these college kids stumbled upon this myth. So they summon Knuckle Bones, and he comes and terrorizes them. And they use like real practical effects that actually look pretty damn good.
Oh, no way.
But just mind you, this is like a pretty terrible B movie, but it's super highly enjoyable. But I will warn you, do not watch this with your younger nephews or kids, because all of a sudden there was this sex scene that popped out of nowhere. Like,
nice.
We're like, oh no, shit.
Is that the succubus part?
The succubus, yeah.
And literally, like another group of kids came in, and they had nothing to do with the entire movie except to show you this sex scene for no apparent reason, just to show you boobs and them getting just violently ripped apart by this Knuckle Bones character. But it's
okay. But let's face it. I mean, that's the reason why we watched a lot of these horror flicks when we were in our teens, kids and whatever else. And when you go back and you watch them again, you're going, "Fuck, this sucks." But I remember when when I was a kid, and when Friday the 13th came out. And I remember Fox 29. This is like, out of Buffalo. Buffalo wasn't Fox 29 at the time. It was Channel 29, whatever. And they were going to show the uncut version at 8, and then the cut version at 8, and then the uncut at 10. And I go, okay, I'm staying up to 10 o'clock and watch the uncut version. I want to see the uncut version of this. My parents are like, no, you're going to bed. You're not watching that shit. I go, come on, please, 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 please. Come on, this is Friday the 13th. I got to see it, right? I conned them into allowing me to see Friday the 13th uncut. And, I was in my glory. I'm like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Alex, you've seen that movie, right?
Friday the 13th, yeah.
Okay. And you remember the sex scenes in there, right?
Yes.
You do? Do you
remember?
really?
I remember the slashing more than the sex scenes.
The slashing. You remember the slashing more?
Yeah.
But like I said, but when you're a young kid, like a teen, 13, 14, whatever, how old? I think it was like 12, 13, 14. I don't know, something like that. When that came out, I was like, oh, yeah, you got to see it. But yeah, it literally demented me for life. And the movies that I don't know if you remember a lot of the college comedies from the 80s.
If you name a couple, I could probably tell you if I knew them, but
Party Animal.
No.
Oh, man.
See, yeah, that might have been a little bit before my time. Yeah, because most of the comedies I like are from like the 90s and stuff. So
you gotta see Party Animal. It's hilarious. It is freaking hilarious. Absolutely loved it. Hot Tub. I think it was Hot Tub.
It's not
What
the
was it
hot
called?
type time machine, is it?
I was just gonna say I know that
not,
one.
no, Hot Tub Time Machine. It was Hot Tub, Hot Tubs, or something like that. Another college comedy. You know, the kids that go to the ski resort and they got hot tubs and all. Oh well, it's all about getting the girls into the hot tubs and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and shit happens. You know, it's a college comedy, right?
I wonder. And then you see stuff floating in the hot tub.
Oh man.
It's more like a horror show at that point.
It's definitely a horror movie then. Yeah, but okay. So, do you watch The Walking Dead at all?
No, I've
Not-
never seen. I think I saw the first 10 minutes of the first episode, and I didn't last through it. I got burned out on zombies, like right when that
Yeah.
came out, you know. So yeah, I didn't watch any of that. But that show is in like what? Its 8th season or some shit like that.
10th, I think, and it needs
10th,
to.
geez.
Yeah, you just I've been saying it for years. Get rid of it, and the only reason why I have continued to watch it is because I've invested all this time watching it. I might as well finish it off, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because they're finishing it off finally. But yeah, okay, I won't get into that because you guys aren't watching that. I know Alex isn't a zombie fan.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, I like the campy, like Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5. Like those are the zombie movies I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the bottom of the barrel shit, you know.
They were pretty cool. I like those movies. It's been a while since I've seen any of the Return of the Living Dead. Any of them they're all good. I like them all.
Yeah, number 3 I think is my favorite though, but I love 4 and 5.
Yeah, three was pretty cool. I remember 3 was pretty cool. Have you ever seen a movie called Black Roses?
No.
Oh, check it out if you have a chance.
Okay.
Really cool flick. It's not a zombie flick, but it's actually not a bad flick. And you want to talk about cheesy. You got to check out a movie called The Brain.
Oh, dude.
Oh, you've seen it.
Dude, fuck yeah. This is so funny. Oh man, this is so funny. This horror reviewer I follow on Instagram just mentioned that movie the other day, so I commented on how much I love it, and now you're bringing it up. That's incredible, dude. Fucking love The Brain, man. Oh, dude.
The Brain, the facility where they filmed it in, right? Is actually it's down the road from where I grew up.
Nice.
It was a Xerox plant, and when you look at it from the sky, it's a question mark.
Nice.
Right, Alex? It's at Winston Churchill and the QEW.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. But that movie, Alex, if you've never seen it, check it out. It's so fucking cool.
Brains.
It's great, dude.
I love that movie, man. Have you got the Blu-ray of it?
No.
No.
No, I think the first time I saw it was on the Svengoolie show here in Chicago. So I don't know if you guys know what Svengoolie is.
Sounds familiar.
So Svengoolie is a character. I think it was based off of this character called Svengali from the 70s. That would host like horror movies, and that's what this is, where the guy will, just run a horror movie, and then they'll do, funny jokes and songs based on it during the commercials, and just really, really funny stuff. And that's where I first saw it, and I was like, this movie is incredible, man. just the audacity that this brain exists and eats people with teeth. It's just, oh my god, it's so good.
So there you go. There's a prime example of classic Canadian horror. Oh yeah, it's I don't know, Alex, if you remember that TV show. You can't do that on TV.
Yep, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yep.
It sort of has that sort of that vibe to it, and it's really neat, Vito, because a lot of the school scenes that are shot in it are shot in a school that was just down the road from where I grew up as well. So
oh, nice.
For me, I'm familiar with the surroundings, so I'm like, okay, I can watch it over and over again and say, hey, yeah, I remember that when I was growing up, sort of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, Alex, if you're familiar with Meadowvale High School.
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay, yeah.
But
My favorite Canadian, I don't know if it's technically a horror film, but the movie Cube. Have you guys ever seen Cube?
Oh, fuck, the Japanese are remaking it. Did you see that?
Really? No, I didn't see that, dude.
It's actually coming out later this year.
No shit.
Yeah, they're remaking it. Yeah, it's a classic.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because one of the guys that's in that went on to do this RoboCop Prime Directives Canadian like movie TV miniseries thing that I'm really into as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the guys was on a Goosebumps TV show episode.
Oh, there's another classic show, eh?
Yeah. Dude, Goosebumps, man. I grew. I mean, that's what literally like taught me how to read and like instilled my love of reading was those Goosebumps books, man.
Really?
I got to meet the author R.L. Stine at a convention here in Chicago about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I had him sign literally the first edition of the Stay Out of the Basement book, which is my favorite one. And it was in shambles because I've had it since I've been like 9 years old or some shit. And he looked at it and he started laughing. He goes, "Holy crap, man. How long have you had this thing?" And I told him, like, "Listen, dude, I bought this when I was young. Like, you're the reason, like, I got in love with reading, and like I got to shake his hand and meet him. It was like this one of the coolest moments in my life."
So
he was so nice, man.
You know, the cool thing about that is you didn't have to travel 9 hours like Alex.
Yeah, for me it was like 30 minutes, dude.
Yeah, let me tell you, it took longer than 9 hours because Frank and I had to stop to fucking take a leak. If it wasn't him, it was me, and if it wasn't me, it was him. And then, of course, when we got to Chicago, it was like rush hour, and we entered Chicago.
Rush hour.
We entered the Dan Ryan Expressway at the south end of Chicago, and when our hotel was by O'Hare, which is at the north end, and we were on the Dan Ryan Expressway for at least an hour and a half.
Dude, it's the worst, man. It's the worst. That's why I hate going anywhere, because you get stuck in traffic or construction, which never ends here, dude.
Oh, it's the same in Toronto. Don't worry.
Yeah, Toronto's bad.
It's the same. We have 2 seasons in Toronto. It's winter and construction.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I live right by O'Hare. I'm like 10 minutes north of O'Hare. So, yeah, when I have to go down, our guitar player Larry lives in South Chicago. So if I have to go down to his house, it's a nightmare, dude.
Oh, that place is insane, O'Hare. Oh my God. I remember stopping in there, layover. I'm like, holy shit, this place is insane.
Yeah.
Humongous. Oh.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take like 2 trains just to get to the other terminal that you need to take your flight from, man. It's crazy.
Well, I remember I was stopping over. I had to fly down to San Fran, and it was supposed to be an hour layover.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be 3 hours because a storm came into Chicago, and it literally just poured. It was major. And I'm like, fuck, man, they got food here. I don't give a shit. I'm going to get myself some authentic Chicago deep dish pizza. And of course, I go to
the airport.
One place. At the airport, of course, yeah. Well,
I guess it was Uno's Pizza.
No, it wasn't Uno's.
Okay, good.
I can't remember, but hey, it's as authentic as you're gonna get in Chicago's O'Hare. So, but it was good. Fucking thing was huge, but it was good. It was good.
I'd love to go back. I want to check out like.
I want to go to Chicago, man.
Yeah, no, I want to check out like Wrigley Field and some other places there.
Why Wrigley Field? You don't like baseball, do you?
Yeah, I don't mind baseball.
You don't mind baseball?
Nah, not my favorite sport, but I don't mind it.
What about what do you like about Wrigley Field?
It's historic.
So, I think it's one of 3 original stadiums left in the country.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You know what? Fenway. Oh my God, that ballpark
Fenway's another one. Yeah,
that's a beautiful ballpark, man. I absolutely love that. I'm glad to get there, but I really wanted to check out Candlestick.
What is that?
In San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
But the time I got there, they were in the middle of tearing it down, and they had moved into their new ballpark, AT&T. And I saw a ball game there, and beautiful field too. But it's too bad. Hey, could you guys have you guys ever played a concert at a ballpark?
No, I think we would have to sell 10 million records in order to do that. Although I think, yeah, Wrigley, we had a couple. I think Pearl Jam played there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think Tom Petty played there a while ago before he died. Yeah, I honestly, to me, that wouldn't be the least ideal place to see a concert, because I think the sound in there would just be atrocious, man.
Shit.
You know? Yeah.
What about the well, you guys played the Maryland Fest there.
Yes.
The
Death Fest.
The Death Fest. What was the setup for that like?
So the year we played, they had a thing called the Edison Lot, which is just a parking lot, and they just built a stage on like one end of it. But then they also had like two venues down in like the downtown area of Baltimore where they had concerts going as well. So if you bought tickets to the fest, you had to buy like separate tickets for venues. It was kind of a weird setup.
Really?
Yeah, but that's how that ran, and I thought the sound was good. I actually saw that Goblin band.
Oh fuck, they are so fucking amazing.
It was incredible, man. They had like a projection on screen, so you saw what the movie was from while they were playing.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so good and so like heavy. It was like metal. It was crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen them? Have you heard their stuff before?
That was the first time I've ever seen them live. I mean, I've heard the songs in the movies, but I didn't know that they actually performed them live like they did.
You know what? Unfortunately, they've gone their separate ways. I mean, Goblin is still together, but Claudio has gone on, and he plays. Alex, you came with me one time to see Suspiria.
Yeah.
Suspiria live with Claudio. It's really too bad, because if they were together, they would have been awesome. But the Goblin as it is now is phenomenal. These guys are amazing. And it's really too bad that Claudio doesn't want to be a part of that. But I think Alex and I were talking about, we got to go down, because dude, we could see November's Doom play, and of course Goblin. I really wanted to see Goblin play too, and unfortunately we were unable to get down there.
You should try to get November's Doom to go to Heavy Montreal.
We've tried to do is that the big festival in Montreal?
Yeah,
it's called Heavy Montreal. Yeah,
Heavy Montreal.
Yeah, I think we've tried to do that a couple times, but I don't know what happened, or maybe the promoter didn't get in touch with us or something like that. I freaking love playing Canada, man. I mean, we played Toronto a couple times. I played Calgary, which is a lot of fun, and I always want to play Montreal. It just never happened.
Montreal is a tough city, man. That'd be awesome. Fucking going to Montreal. Because Toronto never has any good festivals.
No, unfortunately not.
They suck. And unfortunately now it's just Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Verda is the only thing that promotes these shows anymore.
Yeah.
And it's getting, well, obviously with COVID, nothing much is going on. But I mean, before that, it was becoming increasingly harder to fucking, find a good show and a good venue. It really is. It's getting really hard.
Yeah. Noel's, I think, booked all our shows that we played in Toronto, and he's always taken great care of us, man. He's a really good dude.
Noel's a great guy, man. He's an awesome guy, and it's I know he, like, right now he's really fucking he's really jonesing to get something going, but hey, what can you do, right?
Yeah.
It's really too bad. Well, we should send Noel. You need to grab November's Doom here. Come on, Noel, if you're listening.
Get him back up here. Let's do like a November's Doom festival up here.
Should get some of those bands from Brazil that put the tribute together, and You know,
As long as we don't have to pay for their flights, yeah. Let's do it.
I know. Flight, tell them to drive up here.
I wonder how many hours that would take, man, if they had to drive through, Central America all the way up. That's got to be like a 2-3 day hike, I'm sure.
It's got to be, yeah, at least.
Well, at least, I mean, when you figure it took me, it takes it roughly about a day from Florida to here.
Yeah, 24 hours straight, like straight driving.
So you have to go across over to at least Texas
and Brazil's
Arizona.
Freaking long as hell too, man. Especially if they're from South Brazil, they gotta drive all the way up there. Yeah, dude.
Drive all the way up and then go to Central America and then through Mexico, and you're like, holy shit, yeah, this isn't worth it.
That's providing they don't stop for any tequila shots with worms at the bottom.
All to play one gig. Screw that shit.
For a 25-minute set.
25 minutes set. And then they show up and the concert's over. What?
Dude, I guarantee there's at least one band that would do something like that. I when I was younger, I'd tell you, dude, I'd drive in a car for 4 days to just play at a show with a band. I would probably do that. So I'm sure there's bands that would do that. Well, as crazy as that sounds, it's like.
Well, it's funny talking about that. I just watched on YouTube Brian Johnson of AC/DC. He's got a new series out now, and the first one he did, he hooked up with what's his name from the Foo Fighters,
Dave Grohl,
sorry. And they were talking about how they used to use a van to get from show to show to show to show, or they'd go to Amsterdam or whatever. They'd literally be living in a van, going from show to show to show. And it's interesting how you said that, because a lot of these bands, that's what they did. Nirvana, they had a van, to go from show, and they literally partied, slept, and lived in these vans.
That's real touring, man.
That's real touring, man.
Yeah, if you can't cut that shit, I don't know if you want to be in this business or whatever, It's not for everybody, that's for sure.
So what's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you guys going to a gig?
So one of the funniest things in my mind is we were on a tour bus in Europe. It was the first European tour, and we were sharing a bus with the two other bands that we were on tour with, and they had brought like weed with them. Now in our band, we don't smoke weed, we don't do drugs. Our drummer kind of does weed, he smokes weed, but the rest of us, we're pretty we're not party animals, so we're pretty lame. But this band in particular had some marijuana on them, so the driver of the bus pulled over like half an hour before the checkpoint. I believe it was Germany and the Czech Republic, which you think, oh shit, dude, like that's gonna be scary, you guys better ditch this right now. So they throw the stuff out the window or smoke it, whatever they gotta do. So we get to the border, and there's literally like 6 Czech Republic guards with full machine guns standing at the border with their hands out, and the bus had to stop. And we're thinking, shit, dude, this is going to be intense. So they open the door and they say passports. So we all have to give them our passports, and they check it out there. 10 minutes goes by. The guy comes up to the driver and he says something to him, and the driver goes, okay, guys, they're going to bring on some guard dogs to sniff for drugs. So just stay in your bunks and don't move, and whatever you do, do not say anything. Just sit still. Let them do their thing. So we're all freaking out. We're like, fuck, you guys have better ditch those drugs out the window, or else we're going to fucking kill you right here, right? So guards come on, and we're expecting these humongous guard dogs, like German Shepherds or something. Yeah. This tiny little fucking schnauzer. And you know what we did? The assholes we are. We just started immediately laughing out loud. The dog comes on. And we're like, oh my God, we're dead. And then the guards started laughing, and we're like, okay, everything's gonna be fine. But just the scenario, thinking this huge guard dog's in common, it's just a little fucking dog. It was hilarious, man.
Is it like the Taco Bell dog? Remember the Taco Bell dog?
Oh God, yeah. Oh my God. But what was it like to tour Europe though? I mean, like, because I mean, I guess, um, you primarily, you probably, a lot of your fans are over there, right?
Yeah, that's like our bread and butter is Europe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're deep into heavy metal over there.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like the Europeans and the South Americans like fucking love their heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, the first time I went over there, it was literally a dream come true, and it was surreal because, dude, I was just some 20-year-old kid. Well, at that time, I think I was 24 or 5. I don't remember. Yeah, I must have been 24 because I think we went there in like 2006. That makes sense. So you're some 24-year-old kid who's never been. I mean, I've been to Italy and stuff before, but to be in a band that's touring at 24, it's like, dude, this is so cool. I you know. So that was very surreal, but it was amazing that people actually wanted you to come over there and play your music for them. It was just, it's a feeling I can't really like describe. It's just otherworldly almost, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. Just,
did you hit any of the Nordic countries like Sweden and Norway and all that stuff?
We've never been that far. The closest we've been to is like the tip of Denmark.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure your band would do really well there because they're like the Nordic countries are really into heavy metal, man.
We were supposed to play in Norway in 4 weeks, but that's not happening because of COVID.
Yeah.
Well, the guy, what's his name? I think he does a lot of your post. Is it Dan Swano?
Yes.
Is he not from out that way?
He was from Sweden. I think he lives in Germany now, though.
Oh, he's in Germany. Okay.
Because I think his wife was from Germany, so they moved down to her city or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. They, a lot of those, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. They definitely love.
They're into their dark metal though over there, man. Like Demo Burger and like that kind of stuff. It's like really
For
dark.
sure.
Yeah, but it's funny. I listened the other day. I listened to the first Doom album, and I'm like, holy shit! You listen to Paul then, and now you listen to him now, and you're like, what a difference! It was just like, the melodic, the I can never say that word. The melodic doom, just like droning sort of doom, and now it's really interesting to hear how Paul has opened up his voice. I mean, he's got a great voice.
Yeah, for sure. And he gets better.
He's an amazing voice.
Yeah, and each album he progresses that more and more and gets it, refined and refined.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised it took him so long to sort of open up and bring it out, the way it is now.
Honestly, a big part of that is I think our producer Chris.
Oh yeah.
Him and Paul work really closely and work really well together to get Paul his absolute best performance. So Chris is really good at vocal production and knows exactly how to get Paul to that level. So that's why Paul always wants to work with Chris, because they just work so well together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing the transgression, it's just amazing. I mean, I love it across the board. I mean, obviously it's the way it was back then, and I mean, who would you, from your experience and what you've heard, and even before you were in the band, right, Vito? Similar bands, like a band similar to Doom.
Honestly, for me, I had never heard a band like November's Doom, and I think that's what drew me to
them.
And it's funny because I was never into that quote unquote doom metal stuff that a lot of people say that November's Doom rips off of. Like, I never listened to those types of bands. Like, the only band I would probably could say that about would be, like, I knew who My Dying Bride was, and I thought that was cool, but they were never a band where I was like, oh, well, I want to play that style of music, When I came into the band, I think my influences were a little bit different than the previous guitar player, but close enough to Larry where we meshed really well. And I think they were looking for that. They wanted someone that had a different influence to bring the music to a different sidestep, I guess, but still retain that November's Doom sound.
And Larry solos. I got to put that out there because he's in chat there, right?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. An incredible guitarist.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love Larry's stuff. I mean, his style. I love it. It's you can hear echoes of those classic 70s, but yet those classic 80s sort of metal bands, and sort of obviously with his own style. But it's incredible stuff, man. I mean, all around the band.
Yeah, Larry's amazing. Like him and I work really well together, I think, because we have all these outside influences that we might not be into, but at the core, we like the same bands that sprouted off where we are today, you know. So I think that's what really helps, you know.
Well, who's one of your major influences?
So the reason I picked up guitar was Metallica. I had the Black Album when I was, because I was born in '82, so I was like 8 or whatever when that came out.
Sorry, when were you born?
I really want to play guitar, you know.
When did
that
you
was
say?
like my major influence. And back in the '90s, I was into like alternative bands like Bush and stuff like that. Then I discovered bands like Death and Cradle of Filth, and that kind of drew me more into the extreme metal genre, you know.
You know, talking about Bush, you know how bad it is here. We had to call them Bush X.
I remember that.
Well, I don't even know. I can't even remember why we had to call them Bush X in Canada. Oh, because there was another Bush band or some shit like that.
It was.
Was it?
Dude, yeah. Have you guys heard the newest Bush album?
No.
Dude, it's incredible.
Really?
Like, it's awesome. Like, it's heavy. It's heavy as hell. It's so good. You gotta listen to it.
I'll give it a try.
Really
Definitely. Yeah. Alex, you got a smile. What's going on, man?
Oh, you mentioned Cradle of Filth. That's why.
Well, your Cradle of Filth. No, your biggest band, Alex, is.
What do you mean? You asking me or are you telling me?
Well, no, I'm asking you.
Well, the biggest band for me would be Demon Burger. That's what got me into metal to begin with.
Yeah.
And
man, I love Demuth. The Spiritual Black Dimensions album and the Puritanical Euphoric.
Yeah.
Whatever that one's called, I forget now.
The song that got me hooked on metal is Hybrid Stigmata.
Oh, dude, hell yeah!
That was the first time I heard that song. I was like, and I wasn't into heavy metal at all before hearing this song. I was like old school rap. Like I'm talking about NWA, Ice-T, those kind of guys. The old school guys.
Rap.
Yeah, the old hardcore rap guys. Rap. And then I heard this fucking song, and I'm like, this is fucking good. And then it's been like that. Like now,
It sucked them out of the rap scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, rap, what's that shit?
Well, you know what? Because rap has become so shit nowadays.
Yeah, dude, 90s hip hop. For me, it's like mid to late 90s hip hop and some early 90s hip hop. I still listen to that stuff today, man.
Oh, yeah.
I get into that.
It's classic. I'll ask Larry in chat, and I'll ask you. Guys, some of your favorite Canadian bands.
Rush. I mean,
everybody says Rush.
Yeah, that's the band.
I should say everybody says Rush, but everyone's like, I can't stand Geddy Lee's voice. It's always. But you know what? Hey, come on, Rush wouldn't be without that voice.
Yeah, I mean that's the band that got me into rock music. At that time I was still listening to the hip hop stuff and all that, and then I heard Rush on the radio. I was like, oh, what is this? Yeah, Larry and I are huge Rush fans, dude. I mean, that's like, back then it's like Larry asked me, well, what are some of your favorite bands? I was like, oh, Rush, Metallica. He goes, oh yeah, well, me too, dude. So I think that really solidified. Larry was like, all right, this guy's okay. I think we'll
Ron said
see if we can cut it.
Ron said the Guess Who and Gordon Lightfoot.
The Guess Who have some really, really cool flicks.
Flicks or songs?
Flicks. Tunes. Flicks.
Larry said there was a Canadian band from the 70s called Bush. So that's probably why you guys said do the Bush.
No, that's he's mistaken with the porn thing with, with Heavy Bush.
Heavy Bush, yeah. There's actually, I don't know if you guys, do you know the Canadian band called the Kings?
No, I'm sure Larry does. Larry knows like every band that's pretty much ever existed.
And basically, they're known as like a one-hit wonder. But you know, they've got it. The tune, the beat. This beat goes on, switching to glide.
Okay.
Oh my God, great tune. But you know, they've got some really cool tunes. Maybe Larry knows them.
I'm gonna toss Into Eternity in that mix because they're one of my favorite metal bands of all time.
Yeah.
They're from Saskatchewan, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
Max
Larry
Webster. You
knows.
can't. Oh, I love Max Webster. Um,
Are you on YouTube, Steve?
sorry.
Are you on YouTube? Are you seeing Larry's responses?
Yeah, I'm seeing
Right.
Rush and Voivod, classic. Guess Who, Big Wreck. Max Webster's classic. So many great tunes. I'd even get into bands like FM, and I don't know if you're familiar with FM at all.
No, I couldn't tell you.
No, FM. Yes, you're switching the glide. Classic tune, man.
Before we
Absolutely
go any further, I think we should sign off on New Visions.
Oh yeah, we should do that, huh?
Yeah.
All right. For those of you listening to us on New Visions Radio Network, we are tuning out now. We've pretty much acerbated the 2-hour time slot. If you'd like to join us for a few minutes more on YouTube, come on over and just go to youtube.com and type in Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and you'll catch us the last few minutes here on YouTube. Take care, and we'll see you next. You'll hear us next Sunday night on New Visions Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good evening.
Good night.
See ya.
And that's a go there. We're good. Yeah, FM and National Slash. Are you familiar with the National Slash?
Oh, I'm really bad at this game.
The mandolin. Maybe Larry probably is familiar with National Slash and the mandolin.
Hang on. Larry says this. I want to know what Vito's 5 biggest guitar heroes would be.
Oh, here we go.
Jeez. Okay, so we've got James Hetfield from Metallica. Dino Cazares from Fear Factory. I've got Clint Lowry and John Connolly from Seven Dust. And then I'm going to say Larry Roberts from November's Doom because he taught me how to write songs, and I wouldn't be the guitar player I am without him. So there you go. Those are my 5.
Awesome.
How much did he pay you for that?
He did not pay me. He will, but he hasn't paid me for that. I'm kidding.
Okay, so let's turn the tide.
Larry. Oh, yeah, Petrucci. Yeah. Okay, I should see
Larry.
that, but he's way out of my playability scope, Petrucci. So,
Larry, who are your 5? Who are your 5 guitar players? Yeah, it's I don't know. So talking about Metallica, and everybody sort of dumps on them, past the Black Album, right? Even the Black Album.
the Black Album to me is awesome. To me that's Injustice for All I think is my favorite Metallica album, but Black Album is my second for sure.
Is your second favorite? Sorry.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Injustice for All.
I love that album, man.
Yeah.
Harvest. I absolutely love that tune, man.
Yeah.
It's anything before that, obviously, but I honestly I don't know what it is. I have a hard time listening to them afterwards, and I kind of think they production wise maybe they had some I don't know. They want it's evident that they wanted to go in a different direction after the Black Album and then beyond, and rightfully so. I think they probably paid their dues, right? And it's each their own. Obviously, you either like them or you don't. Um, but hey, hopefully this COVID shit gets by us very soon, and we can hear some, get some live doom out there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you guys play again. It's been too long. Um, Vito, throw out everything for people to find you, your Twitch, everything.
So, all right. Yeah. So I just started this Twitch thing. So you can find me at twitch.tv/Vito Marchese. So that's spelled VITO MARCHESE. My band is November's Doom, which you can find us anywhere you listen to music at, on Facebook at November's Doom. I believe 1989 is the tag on Facebook. I also have an instrumental band called the Kahless Clone, which is spelled KAHLESS Clone, and that's like an instrumental post-rock band, which you can find us with that name on any music streaming services. I do a geeking relevant podcast called Geeking Poetic Podcast with my bandmate Larry Roberts and our friend Megan Guess. We have a YouTube channel. You can just search for Geeking Poetic or Geeking Poetic Podcast, and you'll find us on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you use. Yeah, I think that's all the stuff I've got going on at the moment.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, I've caught one of the Twitch things that you've done. It's pretty cool, man. It's really neat to hear you play the tunes. That's awesome. And that's strictly what you do, right? You just throw in some whoever like requests. Vito, can you play this? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have songs that I'll just play myself, and if somebody, I'll always ask them if they want to hear something. If I know it, which hopefully I do, then I'll play it for them. You know.
Have you noticed a lot more people like tuning into that?
Yeah. So especially the last couple streams, I've got more people tuning in, and just newer people I've never seen before on there. So, and they just found me randomly or through other people's streams, which is awesome because it's on Twitch. It's hard to get a following from that platform alone. You usually have to bring in people that already follow you off platform. Like if you've got a YouTube channel, you got to get those guys to follow you on Twitch. So that's the hardest thing, is I've got to figure out how to like market that correctly, because you can't just go live and then all of a sudden think, oh, people are going to see it. Whereas YouTube, that does kind of happen. YouTube's a lot more organically reaching, I guess, than Twitch. Yeah. So that's the only downside of it.
Well, Twitch is mainly what, gaming though, right?
It is, yeah.
That's what I thought it was, and that's why I never looked into it, because I don't have an interest in watching somebody play a video game. Yeah. But music on there is huge, man, and there's like a lot of like a lot of big name bands are on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, it's spreading its wings. It's spreading its wings. Like it's not just for gamers anymore, although that's still the primary focus, but it is spreading out.
Yeah,
it is spreading out.
Like some guy's ass cheeks in the prison.
Oh, and then Larry responded with some of his guitar heroes here in YouTube chat.
Just looking at that, yeah. So David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, Neil, Sachin.
Neil Schon, I believe.
Sachin, where'd I get Sachin from? Of Journey, Brian May of Queen, and Piggy from Voivod. Randy Rhoads, great guitarist, man.
And I can attest that all those are incredibly accurate to Larry's playing style.
Well, and that's the one thing I really enjoyed when I like I said, when I first heard Doom on that podcast years ago. It just sounded so different. I'd heard bands not necessarily similar, but with Paul's voice and Larry's guitar, and it just the whole format. It was like really refreshing. It was really cool, and I'm just glad to actually find it years ago. So. And obviously the new, the latest stuff that you guys have put out in the last few years has been really, 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 like I said, Paul's voice has really transitioned. It's just incredible. Um, Everything about the music's been great. So, you guys keep it up, man. You know, Vito,
Thanks,
keep
dude.
it up. You know, you do you know, an incredible job as well. And look forward to new stuff in the future. And hopefully, like I said, we can hear some live Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, man.
Hopefully soon. Vito, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you guys so much. Always a good time with you guys, man.
Oh, it's always fun to have you, man. You know, the next time we'll definitely get into more, you know, the cheesy movies. You know, we'll have to like sort of push
Kung Pao,
Alex a
man.
little bit.
Kung Pao.
Kung Pao.
I got to check out those yokai monster though.
Dude,
That sounds really
you
good.
have to. You have to, man. Those movies are cool. You definitely got to check them out. They're really cool. So, dude, take care.
You guys too, man. Be
You
safe,
know,
be healthy.
Yeah, you too. And hopefully we'll see you soon, man, with this shit clearing up, hopefully soon. Is there a sunrise? Is there something around the horizon soon? Hopefully so. Take care,
Yeah.
man.
All right, guys.
See you, Vito.
Good night.
Take
See you
care.
guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Always great to have Vito on, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We have to have another nocturnal emissions.
yeah.
You know,
I'm sure him and Paul will be happy with that.
As Paul put, you know, paraphrased it, whatever.
Yeah,
Nocturnal emissions.
Nocturnal emissions. Yep.
We have to have all the guys on the show. It's always great. Vito, great guy. The music guys, November's Doom. Check them out.
Yeah, check them out. Honestly, they're a really great band.
YouTube. Actually, I just before the show, I checked out their YouTube channel. They've got their YouTube channel, and you can basically stream all their albums pretty much.
Yeah.
On the you know, their YouTube channel. Highly recommend it. Amazing stuff. Like I said, it's you know, each album, although you kind of expect certain things, each one it is just so different, man.
It gets better with age. Not with age, sorry. It gets better with time.
With age, it gets better. You know, each one, yeah. And yeah, good stuff. And like I said, I really want to see them live. It's been too long.
I know.
Way too long since we saw them. God, it's been. I can't remember. 2014.
It was a long time ago for sure.
2012, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
You know, 10 years ago. Holy shit, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thanks to Vito Marchese for coming on November's Dune. You know, Google November's Dune. And what is it? November'sDune.com?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. And the YouTube channel is November's Doom. And you know, check it out. Check their music out. Spotify, whatever streams music, you can find them. Good stuff. We don't have a guest next week, do we?
No, we don't.
Open next week.
Yeah, we are open. If anybody wants to join us.
Our good friend Fred Anderson is going to be joining us in the first week in May.
Yep.
Looking forward to chatting with him because he's going to be talking about this really cool UFO experience that happened. When did it happen? In the 90s?
I believe so, yeah. No, I think it was relatively recently, considering.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be cool to have him on the time. I mean, the story's really cool.
Yeah. He wrote the article, so.
He wrote an article.
Yeah.
We changed it. Sorry, we
posted
a link.
Yeah.
On our Facebook group. So check it out. So yeah. Until next Sunday night.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and you know, if you're listening to us on New Visions Radio Network, or here on our YouTube channel, thank you for watching us. live simulcast. All the links. Please subscribe. Please like the show. Whatever.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. The support is much appreciated, of course, as usual. Until next Sunday night, take care.
Have a good night.
Night.